This is Straight Talk with Atlanta native Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shanan Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the Preacher Man.
Welcome to another edition of Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and Shanan E. Jones. Shanan, how you doing tonight?
Oh, Bishop, I'm wonderful. How you doing?
Man, if I was doing any better, Shanan, I would just be supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I got it right.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got it right. Well, I'm glad that we can be here tonight to just share some things about what's going on around here and with this case. We said when you packed up Donald Trump's stuff and put it in the van that we were going to stay on this with Donald Trump until justice was prevailed in this situation for the insurrection. We said we were going to stay on. I know some people say, well, every week y'all talking about Donald Trump. Anything else you can talk about? Well, we got to talk about this case in particular because democracy is on trial. Today, democracy is on trial in a big way. And so what Shanan and I have decided we're going to do from when Trump left the White House, he packed up his stuff, put it in a van, and sent him on his way, right? So we made this commitment. We're sticking true to it. So Big Papa, tonight, we're going to have Miss C. She's going to make her do her thing. But tonight, we have the news commentator from NBC who's going to be talking about the Constitutional Amendment 14 and Section 3, in particular about a person who is an elected official or a government official or official who has led an insurrection or anything or rebellion against the government and that they can no longer hold political office. He's going to share where several people was in political office and were removed under this section. We'll be back with that, but we're coming back with that after Miss C with news and information. Big Papa, let me ask you a question though. How's the baby doing, man? How's the baby doing?
Man, the baby is doing wonderful. Baby's doing wonderful. He's commandeered the inside. I'm outside. Okay. He's talking to the angels and to everybody, screaming and hollering and everything. So I decided that I would give the Straight Talk viewers a break from that tonight, and I come outside here and brave the Georgia mosquitoes and talk to you.
Well, I appreciate it. We appreciate it. The viewers appreciate it. We all
and get
appreciate
some peace of mind as it is. Listen, you talked about us packing Trump up. Right. I thought he had a lot of underwear. He said those were underwear boxes. I said this man got a lot of underwear. Come to find out, it wasn't underwear, but it was. They were documents, and I thought it was a lot. I said this man got a pair of briefs. He had 10 pair of briefs every day of the week, and every day of the year. Come to find out, that's not what it was. I thought it was a lot. But in any case, we did pack him up. But look, I got a call the other day. They said we need to come pack him up at Mar-a-Lago. Say he's going back to D.C.
Oh, really?
Some say, yeah, in chains. I don't know. I'm just wondering. I told them we don't do round trips. I told them we back you out, but we ain't taking you back in. That's what I let them know.
But
I'm sorry, but I spoke for you on that one. I thought maybe.
I agree.
Okay.
You ain't on. Well, come on. I agree.
Come on, let's get Miss C now.
Before we go to Miss C, I got to say this.
Yeah.
The brother who was locked up and stayed in jail for almost a week, who supported Donald Trump, he was released yesterday, right? And he said he thanked Fannie Willis for what she did to help him to understand he's a Negro and how he was treated by those people that he was working for, that they didn't even try to help him get out of jail. They let him sit there for a whole week. So I
did he? That's what he said.
Pretty much, that's what he said. Pretty much that's what he said.
Well, I read in the AJC yesterday that they got a Virginia attorney for him and raised about $275,000 for him. So I
Okay.
guess he knew what to say to get what he needed to get.
Well, hey, when you're the only one that's still in jail. Your
Out of
brother,
19.
right? And the only one still in jail. Trump saying he don't even know you. You know, he's saying, I don't know these people. I don't know these people. I don't know any of
Yeah.
these people. I mean, these people did these things for me. I don't know them. I don't know these people.
You would think that he did know. You would think that he does. I mean, he knows Giuliani. That
Right,
was
he knows
his mayor
Giuliani.
and his
Well, you know,
attorney. He didn't pay his fees. You would think that he would know the leader for blacks for Trump. You would think. I mean, you know, that person would be known specifically for them. For two blacks that came and they dispatched in the strategy. They dispatched that brother, Harrison Floyd is his name, and they dispatched the publicist from Chicago to come down and talk to Miss Ruby and her daughter and try to flip them. So you would think that he would know them. But Mick Mulvaney, his former chief of staff, said that fundamentally Mr. Trump does not believe in paying people's legal fees. And really what it was sounding like is he doesn't really believe in helping people. That's what it sounded like. But that can't be true. Because, you know, there are people that say that he helped them. I don't want to spread anything, but Mulvaney did say that he does not believe in paying people's legal fees, but he does believe in sending out a robocall and sending out mass texts and emails asking you to help him pay his legal fees. I guess he figured everybody else should do that too.
Well, let's go on to Miss C. We'll be back on the other side. Don't you go nowhere. You're listening to Nothing But Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and Shannon E. Jones.
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast. Hope everyone out there is doing well. Hey, Pastor Greg. Hey, Pastor Shannon. Good to see y'all. Oh, there you are. Okay, listen. I've got some information I want to share with you, okay? Don't Count Me Out Just Yet Bible Study. For those of us who are 65 and older, is held every Friday from 6 to 7 p.m. on Zoom at Turner Chapel AME Church. You can go to their website and log on to the Zoom link there. Now remember, it's on Fridays from 6 to 7, and it's called Don't Count Me Out Just Yet Bible Study, and it's for those that are 65 and older, and you must be 65 or older to participate. If you have any questions, contact Reverend Rose Nagoa at 404-984-0915. You're invited to the anniversary of Men Standing for Jesus on Sunday, September 17th at 12 noon at Liberty International Church, Door of Hope Ministries, 1362 Metropolitan Parkway in Southwest Atlanta. The guest speaker will be Cheryl Collins of Word of Hope Christian Ministries. The pastor is Letiska Roddy, and Bishop Greg Fann is overseer. And listen, they're going to be presenting little Demarius Marshall. I understand that he's going to be singing. Bishop Greg informed me that he is going to take us back. He's going to be singing songs like he's got the whole world in his hands. I can't wait to see him. I bet that's going to be really, really nice. Flipper Temple AME Church at 580 Atlanta Student Movement Boulevard in Southwest Atlanta invites you to come and share in their Women's Day, which will be September the 24th, beginning at 10:45 a.m. If you have any questions, call the church at 404-522-5020. The pastor is Reverend Gregory Vaughn Eason Sr. Now listen, if you have any news that you want to share, send it to me. You can email it to me at Straight Talk News, and be sure to spell Straight Talk all out, Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. and I'll be glad to get it on for you. And listen, I have 4 things I'd like for you to do for me. I'd like for you to subscribe. I'd like for you to like us, and you'll see those little buttons right there on the front. And number 3, I'd like for you to leave comments. Let us know how we're doing, okay? We'd love to hear from you. And number 4, be sure to share us. Don't keep Straight Talk News to yourself. You know, some secrets you should keep. Straight Talk News, let everybody know about Straight Talk News. Share our broadcast, and you'll be glad you did, okay? And listen, until next time and in between time, may the Lord God bless you real good, okay? Bye now.
Well, thank Miss C. And now, Miss C is always Miss C. You know, just Miss C.
Miss C is always, you know, Miss C got a fan. AW over at Ulysses said Miss C is, he said, boy, Miss C is something else, boy.
She is
be
something
on
else.
it.
You know what?
Yeah, that's what he said. That's AW over at Ulysses Barbershop.
I will agree with AW. She is something else. She been something else. Something else is what she is.
We need to make AW a sponsor. All that money he got over there, he need to be a sponsor. All that money AW got. AW, you need to sponsor Straight Talk.
AW is
and
our
Miss C
barber.
was brought to you by AW at Ulysses.
AW is our barber. And you know, I have a thing. I'll talk about it a little later on because I know you're battling with the sunlight outside because you're outside. But I do want to announce something Richard Rose is doing, and with voter registration and getting people to vote and his new organization. Do want to talk about that, but I'll show that at the end. But I definitely want you to be involved in making sure you get registered to vote and that you vote. Because with all this stuff they're trying to say, change and discourage people from voting, but voting matters. That's why we're in the dilemma we're in today. We need to continue to vote in numbers and vote in masses. So they cannot do what they do.
That's right.
All right. So let's leave what he's saying now, Shanan, and we'll be back on the other side after this with our NBC commentator talking about the 4th Amendment. 14th Amendment and
Let me tell you the
3
story of Victor Berger. He was an Austro-Hungarian immigrant to the United States, and in 1910, he became the first socialist member of the House, representing Wisconsin's 5th District. He even introduced a bill to provide an old age pension to Americans over the age of 60. It didn't pass. But today we have something very similar called Social Security. After Berger lost his bid for re-election, he began writing editorials against the First World War in the newspaper he owned back in Milwaukee. And there was a huge backlash against him for it, all part of the first Red Scare, widespread anti-left hysteria across the country. Berger was indicted and convicted under the Espionage Act for, quote, disloyal acts. The Supreme Court ultimately overturned his conviction, but not before Congress blocked him from running again while under indictment. The House said, in effect, no, you are accused of being an enemy of the state, so there is no way we are letting you represent this government. A pretty serious move by Congress. He hadn't even been convicted yet. So, why am I telling you about a socialist from 100 years ago? Because Berger was blocked from running under a section of the US Constitution that disqualifies Americans from holding public office at any level if they have engaged in any effort to overthrow the US government. No, really. The 14th Amendment, Section 3, has been used again and again throughout American history. Berger was the last person to be successfully blocked from running for Congress under Section 3. But last week, a New Mexico judge disqualified County Commissioner Coy Griffin, the leader of a group called Cowboys for Trump, from holding public office because of Griffin's role in the January 6th insurrection. Yes, insurrection, a word the judge used. Just removed him from office, the first time that's happened since the end of the Civil War. By joining the mob and trespassing on restricted Capitol grounds, Mr. Griffin contributed to delaying Congress's election certification proceedings, the judge wrote. The ethics watchdog group, Crew, brought the suit against Griffin, presenting video evidence like this.
For fair and legal elections, or this is what you're going to get. You're going to get more of it.
Crew told radio host and MSNBC columnist Dino Badola they are taking a hard look at bringing a similar lawsuit against President Trump. So let's take a closer look at this specific part of our Constitution, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, that could, maybe, might be used to keep Donald Trump from launching a bid for re-election in 2024. It says, quote, "No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state, who having previously taken an oath to support the Constitution of the United States shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof." This clause right here, outlines the consequences for insurrectionists. Consequences that surely should be enforced, right? I mean, presidents and vice presidents and senators and members of Congress are all made to swear that they will uphold the Constitution of the United States. Well, Section 3 is in there, and it's a warning. It says if you're a rebel or an insurrectionist against the United States, you can't run for office. It's how Congress, in my view, very unreasonably and unfairly, blocked America's first socialist congressman, Victor Berger, during the first Red Scare. But it also, much more reasonably, was enforced by a judge last week against New Mexico County Commissioner Couy Griffin for participating in the January 6th insurrection. Did you know it almost happened to Madison Cawthorn as well? This spring, the far-right congressman from North Carolina faced a court challenge that argued his actions on January the 6th should keep him from running for re-election. But then he lost his primary in May, and all sides agreed to dismiss the case. The same voters' advocacy group that brought that case, Free Speech for People, also filed a legal challenge against a handful of lawmakers in Arizona based on what they called a reasonable suspicion they'd helped to facilitate the insurrection. It was ultimately dismissed. But they also filed a similar suit for the same reasons against Marjorie Taylor Greene in Georgia. That suit went to trial, where the hard-right congresswoman was made to answer under oath about the incendiary statements she had made leading up to January the 6th, as well as about any actions she had taken in relation to it. Here's a quick refresher.
I don't remember.
Okay, so you're not denying it, you're just saying you don't recall.
I don't recall. I'm not answering that question. I don't remember. I don't remember. I don't recall making that tweet. I don't know anything about this. Never seen it before.
Funny how the same woman who calls Biden mentally incompetent seems to have such a faulty memory. A state judge ruled that Greene could stay on the ballot, and Georgia's Republican Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, who had the final say, decided the conservative firebrand will be on the ballot this November. So, look, talk of the 14th Amendment is not some liberal, fantasy, pie-in-the-sky, idle nonsense. This is an active question in the courts right now, whether insurrectionists or those who incite them should be allowed to hold office, all based on the 14th Amendment, Section 3. Last year, in the immediate aftermath of the insurrection, Democratic Senator Tim Kaine and Republican Senator Susan Collins, in a bipartisan effort, used Section 3 in a bid to censure Trump for giving aid and comfort to the insurrectionists by repeatedly lying about the election, slandering election officials, pressuring others to come to Washington for a wild event, and encouraging them to come up to Congress. Because, of course, convicting Trump in the Senate for inciting the insurrection had failed, so Kaine and Collins were looking for some way, anyway, to hold Trump to account. Hey, at least they tried. Around the same time in the House, Tennessee Democrat Steve Cohen introduced his own bill to enforce Section 3 of the 14th Amendment for any member of Congress who participated in planning the insurrection. That bill hasn't made it out of committee. So, what's stopping groups like Crew or Free Speech for People from filing the same suits they've brought against members of Congress against Donald J. Trump as well? He's been impeached already for inciting the insurrection, for saying stuff like this.
We fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
But again, remember, Trump wasn't convicted in the Senate. He wasn't even censured by Congress. His actions in relation to January the 6th are still under investigation by the Department of Justice. In fact, just on Monday evening, we learned the DOJ has seized the phones of 2 of Trump's top advisors. Over the past week, it has issued 40 subpoenas as part of its investigation into January the 6th. Let's not also forget Mar-a-Lago. Trump is also under investigation for potential violations of the Espionage Act in relation to the FBI search of his Florida home/vanity purchase. So why shouldn't Section 3 of the 14th Amendment be applied to the guy who wants to run again for president, rather than only to the county commissioner in New Mexico who was acting in his name and with his encouragement? Look, the Constitution is not an a la carte menu. You don't get to pick and choose only the parts you like and leave the rest behind. And don't tell me, well, we don't know quite what Section 3 of the 14th Amendment means, or who can enforce it, or what the precedent is. Just look at what conservatives did with the Second Amendment. They changed its historic meaning. They made it the centerpiece of their political ideology. So if you're concerned about democracy and Donald Trump, yes, there's the DOJ's investigation and the FBI search and the 1-6 committee. But don't forget about Section 3 of the 14th Amendment.
Well, thank you, Shanan. Don't forget about that section, okay? All right. Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. That's deep, isn't it? It really is deep, isn't it? If you really think about this,
yeah, you see today that we're taping, so this would be on Thursday.
Right.
That the Proud Boys, leader of the Proud Boys, Joseph Biggs, got 17 years today, and Stuart Rhodes of the Oath Keepers got 18 years. And then on next Tuesday, there's the chairman of the Proud Boys is getting ready to be the chairman of the Proud Boys is getting ready to be convicted as well and given time. Man, that's a lot for a tour. They said it was a tour. They didn't. They said it was they were having a tour. I just, I've been on a lot of tours, and my wife asked me the other day if we're going to go over to, we're going over to Europe, we're going to take a tour. I said, oh, no. I said, no, I'm not going on no tour. You be getting 18 years for tours. I'm not going on no tours. No. They didn't mess up the tour industry. They single-handedly have messed up the tour industry. They giving big time for a tour. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. And I understand. I do understand what you're saying. But this session and I like what he said. You can't pick and choose. You can't pick and choose. And when someone said, and you heard him, and our viewers heard him, when he said, if we don't go up there and do something, then they're going to get their way. And we got to go up there and do something. Now, if that ain't stirring a riot or an insurrection, I don't know what it is. That's just like me telling you, Shanan, we got to go do something about this. And if we don't do something, they gonna have their way. That's what that amounts to. We got to do something. So that's what he said. He was telling them, he was giving them the authority to go and do it. And then, even when it was happening, he did not, who took the oath to protect this country, did not even call for the National Guards or anyone to come in to help to squash what was taking place. He just let it take place. And even to the point, and this is the point where I am, that really clears to show me that he was inciting an insurrection, was when he tried to overthrow the government, when he said to Mike Pence, Mike, I need you to don't qualify this election. Don't do it. And Mike Pence made a decision that he was going to stick with the Constitution. The Constitution didn't give him the right to do it, and he was going to do what he believed the Constitution said that his authority was. But even at that, he was trying to overthrow the election. And that's why the judge in New Mexico gave the commissioner the charges he gave him. He said he was part of an insurrection because you were trying to overthrow the election.
Look, could you imagine being Trump's strategist right now? Could you imagine? I mean, you've done that work and do that work, helping, advising, and strategizing and whatnot. Could you imagine? I mean, this guy's got a case from across the gamut, from propositioning a woman in a department store dressing room, to taking documents out of the White House, to allowing people to go and just tear up the Congress. An officer dies, officers are attacked, Congress staff hiding under desks, the U.S. Congress evacuated, the vice president evacuated, calling the Secretary of State of Georgia and looking for votes with forget the Hatch Act, forget the Hatch Act, which says that if you working for the government, you can't be involved in a political campaign. Got the chief of staff calling. You got America's mayor running around talking about folk is passing a cough drop, calling it like they passing vials of heroin, lying on folk. I mean, could you imagine? I mean, how do you deal with something sound like to me, you just need to say this is not going to work. But 52%, I'm going to say that again, 52% of those polls, incredible polls of registered voters, Republican voters, said that they would vote for Donald Trump for President of the United States of America. 52%.
But Shanan, let me stop you right here. In the debate, all of them was raising their hand except for two, that they would support Trump for president if he got the nomination. Now, why are they even running if they're going to support him? I mean, really? For real? I mean,
well, Christie said he wasn't raising his hand.
Yeah, he did say he wasn't raising his hand. But
Christie said he wasn't raising it, which is the problem that folk have with Christie. They say he wishy-washy.
Well, I mean, but that's everybody entitled to their opinion in terms of him being wishy-washy. And most of them wishy-washy. But you got the other guy, I can't even pronounce his name, who's saying that I think he wanted to be vice president, going Trump vice president. He'll pardon him without any reservation. He just pardoned him.
Could you imagine that Trump would never have Vivek as his vice president, because Trump has to be the star of the show? Could you imagine? I mean, you saw how Mike Pence sat there for 4 years like a mannequin at Sears department store. Could you imagine Vivek running around with the crowd and the publicity? He would never. I mean, Vivek is basically, I guess, trying to promote himself in the name of standing with Trump and trying to tap into those Trump voters. But I don't think Donald Trump would ever, his ego, his narcissism would not allow that.
Well, I don't think he'd allow any of those that were there on that panel that's running against him to be his vice president if he should win. I believe that with this 14th Amendment in Section 3, it needs to be clearly looked at. I would hope, even if it has to go to the Supreme Court, I hope that those people or justices that would be looking at it as it is. Because how can you tell people that no one is above the law when you have a person who has done all the things that he's done since 2020? I wouldn't forget from 16 to 20. But from 2020 to now, the things that he has done that has really tore up this country, divided this country, and in such a way that he doesn't know anybody. And I think Michael Cohen says it better. Donald will do anything for Donald, and he'll throw anybody under the bus. He will, because it's all about Donald. And so we got to really look at this thing in a real way, because I know that polls are saying one thing, but I would hope this country, the country that we live in, there are more people who are in this country that are moral than are immoral, and that would support someone who is doing the thing that he has done. Because if he gets away with doing all the things that he's done, how much more would he do if you give him the power again? How much more would he do? I mean, how much more destructive would it really be? I mean, it's really, it's mind blowing if you really want to know the truth about it. In my opinion, it's just mind blowing that people would even want to even consider him for that job again. Consider him for that job again.
But one thing I think that Donald Trump told the absolute truth about, because everybody says he's a big liar, but I think he told the truth. And I got to say this quick because it's getting darker than Ron DeSantis' chance of being president over here. But he said he could go out and shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and the people would still elect him president.
He did.
And I think we need to go back and look at that, because I think that Bishop Newt Gingrich hit in something, that it's not about his candidacy. It's not about for Trump, it's about the aggrandizement, the adulation, and being president. But for the people who are behind him, I think that there is a kind of movement. We got to find out what did Gingrich mean by this movement, because this was the last that we know of hurdle that Trump had to deal with, and he's got a lot of hurdles to deal with in terms of. I mean, that was just the beginning, but this was the last appearance in court. I mean, not appearance in court, but the last turning himself in and being fingerprinted, all that. This was the last one for all the cases that he had to make that appearance, to do that, be arrested. And he keeps going up in the polls, and DeSantis is shrinking. He keeps going up, 52, 54%. So what is this movement? We better find that out, and we better deal with that.
Well,
as we deal with all the rest of it too.
Well, let me agree with you. When I heard someone say that people wore John Lewis T-shirts with his picture and mural and all of that because he was a part of the civil rights movement, right? He was an icon for voters' rights, and was bodily hurt because of his stand, making sure that we as a people got the right to vote. Donald Trump movement is, and people wearing his T-shirt, is that he's fighting for us not to have the right to vote, not to even have an election. That's his movement.
Wow.
You know, his movement is to counter what those like my pastor, Dr. King, and many others fought for. Hosea Williams, and I can go on and on, James Earn, the list goes on and on and on, who fought for us to have the right to vote, right? But now, Donald Trump has a movement to do away with voting, that he wants to be a dictator, and his whole movement is to make him a dictator, because once he gets to be a dictator, if something should happen to him, then the next person would be a dictator. So you won't have the parties and those kinds of things. You'll just have a dictator. Somebody telling us this is what you're going to do if you live in this country. This is where you're going to live. We're going to have martial law. I mean, just you name it. That's what it's going to be if he wins. But I know it's getting dark out there for you, and I want to bring you out of
Yeah, I got to get a light out here. If I keep going this way, I'll get a light out here next week.
Well, we're good, but I want to just thank you so much for joining in our discussion tonight, and we're going to end right there. But that's what we're talking about, and I think that 14th Amendment is something that we need to really be looking at. But I'm going to, Shanan, but just before we go, I just got to put this up on the stream, and when I put this up on the stream, I'll be right back with us. But I want to.
You see the way I'm fading here. This is the way democracy is fading away.
You done faded out, man. Stay with me. Don't forget what I was saying about Richard Rose and voter registration training. It's going to be a training September 7th from 10:30 to 2 p.m. And it's going to be in the city of Fann, and that's on Camilton Fann Road in Fann, Georgia. For more information, you can call the Richard Rose office, and I can't see the information there. Shanan, can you see that number there? Can you see the number, Shanan? Oh, you can't. You can't see it. Okay, let me see if I can raise it up. And if we can get the number for people can call, because I do want you to actually call and be a part of the voter registration and how you can participate and involve. I don't see a number there. I just see the time and the place. So it's going to be from 10:30 to 12 p.m. And it's going to be teaching you how to deal with training people, how to register to vote. And it's going to be at 5600 Camilton Fairman Road in Fairman, Georgia on September the 6th. Let me see, can I get my friend back in before he fades away in the dark? There he is, my friend and co-host, Shanan E. Jones. But Shanan, it's been a pleasure to have you with us again tonight. And as always, don't forget to share. Don't forget to like us. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to make comments. And don't forget to share. Until next week, and there's been nothing but you're in the dark. You're to the great
Straight talk.
And Shanan E. Jones with Straight Talk.
Oh.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fann at FANN922@Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shanan Jones and Greg Fann, the Preacher Man. This is Straight Talk with Atlanta native Greg Fann, the Preacher